I don't think you could have the right understanding of the scripture passage that we hear in this Sunday, the 12th Sunday Ordinary Time, unless you have experienced the ocean and the sea in some very real way. Now, there's nothing wrong, I call it the National Geographic approach to the ocean. I mean, you read and you see the beautiful pictures and the stories about the lands, the seascape, the beautiful creatures that float beneath the corals and in and out, and the strange creatures that inhabit the sea. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's really good. You better at least have that appreciation of the ocean or the sea. But I think for a real understanding of these scripture passages, that opening description from the book of Job about the power of the sea and how God controls it, and even the incident with the apostles in the fishing boat, the storm that comes up on Lake Galilee, and how they're frightened and they're wondering if they're going to even survive this. You can't experience and understand what the scriptures are saying unless you maybe experienced what the sea can cause you to think about and be frightened of. I remember a number of years ago when I was first ordained, one of my dear friends talked us in, a whole group of us, 4 of us, into taking a cruise on a 2-masted sailing ship off the Penobscot Bay in Maine. I had never been on a ship of any sort, and he convinced us it'd be a great thing. We boarded the ship. Small vessel. I mean, there was only four of us, priests, and there was a couple that was also on board. There was only room for 6 people to sleep on board the ship, plus a place for the first mate and the captain. So there was, in addition to us, the crew was 2. And we were going to learn how to move up the sails and move this. And actually, we did. We sailed the ship a few times throughout that week that we were on board. But the first few hours, let me tell you, were not exactly the easiest. We headed out the Penobscot Bay, heading towards the ocean, when suddenly we were engulfed. It was a storm. I mean, I was getting a little frightened. Actually, I had to grab the mast of the one of the masts that were right there, or I would have been pushed off the whole ship. And I made my way, holding on to everything, to where the captain was at the wheel, and you could hear the crackle of the radio announcing some kind of winds and storm. He was listening to a channel, that they have about the weather. And it was amazing. I thought to myself, oh my goodness. And I said to him naively, I'm here as the captain of the ship, and I'm saying, are we going to be okay? And he looks at me and calmly he says, about an hour, he says, the sea will be calm. Well, I thought, well, maybe you believe that. I don't believe it, because I'm worried that we're going to go under with this storm that's upon us. Would you believe it? Within an hour, it was like we emerged out of a cloud of storms into beautiful sunlight and the sea. And that began a week, one of the most beautiful weeks I've ever experienced in my life, of a vacation on a sailing ship. I learned a great lesson, a lesson that the apostles learned in the gospel passage today. I learned a lesson that, yes, the interesting about the sea and the ocean is that these are being used as metaphors, not so that we are worried about the sea or frightened of a storm on sea, but to realize that in life there are circumstances that can become very overwhelming. All of us experience those moments when everything seems overwhelming. We wonder, how are we going to get out of this? How are we going to deal with this situation? And our faith says, put our trust in Jesus, who is the captain of our ship. Put our trust in him. Don't let yourself be so overwhelmed that you do not realize there is one more powerful than that storm and those circumstances that are surrounding you. Don't be fooled. Don't be, as like myself, not trusting the captain when he says, don't worry, it'll be calm. And we'll realize and see, as Jesus did with the apostles, that he rebukes the winds and the seas. Be quiet and be still. The wind ceased, and there was great calm. And then you almost ask yourself, who then is this whom even the wind and the sea obey? And I've experienced that through numbers of storms in my own life, that wind and sea had obeyed him, and I had been able to continue on and to experience some moments of calmness in my life. God bless you.